something that I've heard about. Yeah! And Neela's gonna get locked in. It is the Neela Senna lane. This is something that a lot of people have been kind of whispering about it, talking about it. Couldn't actually base, and now Owner is not there, and the jungler's coming up, and Zika 6, so they're gonna look for an all-in.
Zeus has the ulti, a bit extra movement speed. We're looking away from the flag and drag. Quick flash out to safety. Instantly just gonna ult for the extra movement speed. Now the damage coming through from the Gwen. Tarzan looking to follow up the flash in. Zeus still living for now, but first blood on the top side for LNG.
Going back up towards that top side gank, T1 will be able to pick up the Dragon, and I do think that the fact
T1, 3 members in the area, ready to set up. Scout on the flank, however, gonna look for the shove. Is gonna manage to catch only Zeus in the meantime. Baker still standing strong. Shockwave getting good damage down. T1 quick to force the fight. Zika not powerful enough to force that one through. T1 taking one and might just turn right back to the Herald. Down here, only going to further extend Faker's lead. As you can see on the bottom of your screen there, Scout doing what he can to just push everything back, but now they might just go in for the counter punch. Scout pulled away, forced to flash out to safety. The Herald still connects. Now Faker going to be in trouble, but again, there's no follow-up damage here. Orianna just sitting pretty. Thank you very much, Tarzan. That was terrible. And now what the hell? T1, they're living rich.
just not on the level it needs to be.
No, absolutely not. LNG are looking nervous in game 1 here. And if you can't turn it around.
And I think one thing that LNG needs to consider is we see this all in on the top side. Zeus getting the Q3 in, but not quite as much sustain as initially expected. Hex Drinker pocked. Won't result in much more. Both sides simply backing away. A trade of alt G, but TP coming top side.
They're all coming. There's 4 at top right now.
Full focus on getting this objective bounty. Zeus, flag and drag. We'll just get the flash in the end. Tower picked up on the bottom side as well.
That's going to be double objective bounty in about 30 seconds. That I know. That is not going to fight these fights where they think they're disadvantaged, right? And that's why it was so surprising to see them take some of it earlier on. But they're just going to play the map. They're going to try to get as much gold in the pockets of their carries as possible and attempt to be ready for this soul fight, which is very likely to be game deciding here in 5 minutes.
Most certainly. You will feel it even more at 3 items. If this champion is not blown up in a fight, she will take over and extended engages.
There is also the fact that we've seen...
It's going to be on.
Have to be careful about locking themselves in the pit. Keep your eyes on Guma if he gets to the back line. Owner now stepping forward. Dragon Soul stolen, and now it's Guma Yushi looking to tear through the entire team. Goes golden right to the back line. Zeus continuing to step up, but Zeka needs to be the difference maker. Zeka needs to hold on, but there are too many members free firing into the Gwen. Zeus stands strong on the back side of the fight, taking down so many members.
Playing game 1 as well.
An incredible start to the series from Team, but I don't think Kong is going to play Blitz again.
It's the self-ban angle.
It might be the self-ban angle. Like a truck, combined with the Neela, combined with Faker, even on this super tanky build, still outputting so much damage. Hook not quite going to
pushed in. So even once this Blitzcrank got out of lane, there wasn't much recourse for him, and T1 on the push. Zeus may be in trouble.
Zeus off to the side, but LNG has to be careful about overcommitting. Zeus still just taunting them, teasing them. Blitzcrank, can the hook come out? Cataclysm locking him in. They will connect, but he pulls him back. Apotheosis! Guma Yushi ascending to godhood in that moment as LNG are torn to shreds. T1 too far ahead. They make it look effortless.
It's a clean ace for T1. Baker shockwaves the minions just to speed up the demise of LNG. The Korean fans erupt here as T1 gonna claim game number 1.
Busan will not be silenced yet. Incredible.
Marksman, they bring it back!
This is so funny because I was talking about that in Pick and Ban in game number 1, how Carey was so flexible during this meta, where he was one of those guys that you really could count on in this double marksman meta.
Staying available though for Guma, double cookies as well as a refillable potion for the Varus.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Faker losing the sustain war. He hasn't recalled yet. Scout has, of course, already used his TP back to lane. Potential window here to try to capitalize on. Faker still has the flash available. The healing as well. Can he find a target? He's going to flash back under the tower. Shock blast there. Faker making it out to safety. Scout now looking to follow up the healing, now coming in, trying to find the 1-for-1, but Scout will stand strong.
No cleanse on Gala. He had to use that down on bot side. The stolen Maokai ult, all of the CC available from Owner. I think Gala would have been a dead man if they tried to fight this one, so it's going to be pushed back.
There's no follow-up there. Instead, the Herald immediately going to get dropped. T1 now looking to grab 2 plates here. Flash in though, Owner's not happy with just 2 plates. Scout now going to be in trouble, but they can't quite find the damage. Faker going forward, looking for a bit of revenge. After the first tower dive, he will find the kill.
Gets out, and they get the plates with the crash.
Hung now stepping in. The flash away, the flash to safety, the slows big. Guma locked down, should get taken out here. Chains of Corruption going wide. He will not be able to get anything back. Crucial.
Incredibly good.
T1 Leveraging their priority into the mid lane, the control that someone like a lethality Bars is going to give you by just pure...
was able to get such big leads consistently. It's this bot side counter picks as Zeus goes in on Tarzan.
Tarzan comes through with the twisted advance. Zeus getting lower and lower. We're going to try to burn through Hextrigger. Is it going to be enough? Flash out to safety. On the backside, Guma managing to land the ultimate. A little bit of follow-up damage. Zeus coming back in for the extra healing. Double TP now going in. Faker is there. Lockdown come in, and Zika's going to try to find one. Faker is towing away the ultimate. That's the needlework coming out. LNG being pushed back by the side of T.
Had to retreat. They couldn't chase in and try to finish off Zeus. And it did mean that despite the trades back and forth,
Leverage the pressure that the Herald provides into then an advantage in the eventual soul fight in about 4 minutes' time. The Dragon, I do think that you're going to reach the 2-item breakpoints. We're seeing that Gala's getting close, same for Zika, and from that point on...
Tarzan will try to retake some of this vision, and LNG are going to try to get the Scuttle and see if they can find the better angle for the engage.
Scuttle down, Gala great guns for a fight. In terms of sustained DPS, he absolutely outclasses Guma. But if it just comes down to a poke battle, he will not come out on top. LNG forcing the issue.
Hong doesn't have a good angle to engage at all, though. Like, look where he's playing. He's almost like trying to mark Zeus, but he needs to get the backline. They're going to go.
Flash in. Owner Gala manages to make it out safety. Isolated for now. Looking for Zeus over the wall. Zeus on the backline. But Gala forced to safety. Chakrams stacked. Zeus can't find the angle, but the shutdown coming through for Faker. T1 taking the fight anyway. Gala looked good, but
all the difference is he comes over the side there, gets right into both the carries from LNG, Scout and Gala, because it's more stable, it's more secure. You go Goredrinker, you go Sterix, you get in the middle of the fight, and at the very least, you're going to take up a lot of damage. This one is
coming in, will just miss through the goalpost. Stolen Maokai ultimate now used, potentially a window of opportunity here for the side of T1. Flash in onto Owner. Owner still making it out to safety. A lot of resources committed. Issue. Force the fight here. T1 has to be careful about grouping for the Infernum ultimate.
Owner a little bit chunked here, and Hong's looking for that angle. They're going to try to pinch Zeus.
Dragon resetting a little bit here. Both sides backing away. It's just a battle of poke. Both sides hoping to bait the other one into pressing the trigger. The charm now coming through. Will it be enough to lock down Zeus? No is the answer. Scout given to the Aatrox as tribute, and now Gala's in trouble. T1 coming alive. They see the window of opportunity. They see the weakness in the armor of LNG, and they tear it asunder. There is no room left in the fight. T1 will take everything they want in this game too. Hung, a last desperate effort, but the TP's coming mid. I mean, that's going to be game.
They're going to throw for the end. T1 put LNG in a lose-lose position. You have to contest for this objective. Elder, just too much power to give over. But T1 patiently prodding, find the angle.
And the fervor of the fans in Busan will not force T1 to play over-aggressive. They keep their discipline, they remain composed, they close out cleanly versus LNG in Game 2 and bring us to match point, a semifinal spot on the line.
From it, the engage options are really, really poor, I do think, for LNG. For LNG, I think the early game is going to become so incredibly important. They're going to have to be able to kind of absorb these engages, utilize the breath.
Of Summer was able to carry this team, I think, when the rest of the players weren't able to keep it together. Scout
against Renata, you always have to play
almost 6.
Tarzan looking down here on the bottom side. Good initial damage. Nice pullback on the shockwave. Guma still standing for now. The bailout will buy enough time for them to get one kill back. Tarzan still standing, and that means Guma will fall. LNG find an angle on bottom side, but here comes the hostile takeover. Faker knocking 2, but the tower, it does not fire back. Owner does not have the angle to fall upon the Gala. He will just barely be able to find a Gala now, trying to make it out to safety. T1 needs to get a kill back and return. Gala goes up. Gala goes down, but for now he is still standing. Finding the dissonance.
Oh, as we might have another return player from Tarzan.
Rinse and repeat, finding the lineup, finding the angle, instant damage coming through for Felios. They can get the root as well if they can find the mark. But nice counter punch coming in from Guma, using the ult to stop the play in its tracks. Gala continuing to step up. Desperate to get a little bit more here, but has to be careful. The mark now coming through. Bar is good damage. Guma wants to finish it, and he gets it. Absolutely outplayed.
Right off the back of it. Hong and Gala around. Tarzan is sniffing, but it's going to be too little. It's going to be too late. So it's about the fight if it's about anything.
On to Guma. Follow-up is there. Owner not going to connect. Zik on the backside. Hostile takeover is clean. And again, there's no cleanse available for Gala. It stops the play for now. Zika trying to find one. Owner surely should fall here. Still standing because of the bailout, but he will eventually die. Available for Tarzan in just a couple of seconds here. Counting down, ticking away.
Yeah, they can't do it.
Faker going to try to cover early ult to try to make it out safety. T1 backing off. Are they going to kill? LNG linger for a bit too long, not respecting the burst, and here comes Faker. Tarzan getting shredded by the soldier. One more is gonna do it.
Here, Owner will just push Tarzan off. They'll secure the top tier 1, so they don't even need to use the Herald. Just get a quick reset. Go
basically an isolated 1v1, which with the Jace,
Faker
he's always gonna win.
in the darkness, coming through, the pushback onto Zeus to the skies, dunked down. Ulti goes a little bit wide, but the second half of the root on the Chain of Corruption will catch. Owner wants to keep this 1v1 going. Scout now retreating, Scout now coming in, stun goes in, the pullback nice
Cancel
from Scout, buying a bit more time, but now again the follow-up, the steadfast presence, and who is steadfast if not T1 in the face of elimination. 3 back-to-back clean.
Like free Drakes? This early on is Tarzan.
Tarzan! That's your side of the rift, Zeus. Backing away, Gala off to the side. He can root up 2. Follow-up autos there, roots. No, this buying a bit more time with the hostile takeover. Now they're autoing each other. They're just killing each other. LNG, the fight instantly turned to beautiful from Carrier, but Scout can't get the damage. It is not enough.
T1 are going to keep the chase going. Faker's going to take the Hex hit.
No
He wants to wrap
turrets
behind them. Look at mid. Mid, they're going to try to get both towers. They'll prevent the charge on the tier 1 by killing it off. So they're going to push in that Herald and go for 2 towers off of the play. And off of the delay there from T1, they get a kill. They take 2 towers. They're going to get a 3rd charge mid as well.
And they got the Hextech Drake with all that going on as well. Soul point again at 18 minutes with the Hextech of Zeus. So no one can match this Jace. So T1 can just keep pressing their advantages in the side lanes.
Can they make it work? Tarzan stepping forward, frontlining. The handshake pulls them back. The Baron already gone. There's no fight left. And still, Owner goes in, finds the knockup on 2. Zika in the back line. They're just forced to back away. But again, discipline is the story for T1. They got what they came for, and they walk away.
T1 get everything. They get the TP off Zika, they get the Bear, and they're pushing down that top lane, and they're going to be able to answer mid. Maybe you lose the tier 1, but look at Carrier. He's setting up for a
Hostile
play.
takeover, Shockwave there. Hostile takeover, a little bit of damage here. Faker off to the side. Owner backing away. Just the tier 1 and the objective bounty taken.
This is a 5 versus 4. Zeus is just pushing in the top side of the map. That's their most fat member. He's not even there.
And this is in his interviews, you know, that time away, giving him the space to become the player that he wants to be, to become greater, as now Faker breaking in the mid lane. Again, Tarzan can fish for the pick. They might be able to find it here. Can they get Faker down? The pushback's still there. Faker trying to slide, trying to glide out to safety. The root is there. The damage follow-up is not, however. Carrier, the flash in, the handshake onto Scout. You will not take his mid laner.
Zeus pushing down the bottom side. They can retreat back to a Hextech Soul. No answers remaining for LNG. This feels like checkmate from T1. An incredible series that they have played. LNG have looked helpless to answer any of the plays from T1.
And it's Hextech Soul with a unhit Varus, a Zir with Nashers, and a monster fat Jace.
And Zeus, full confidence play. There's no reason he needs to do that, but he doesn't.
But T1, it doesn't look like the pressure's getting them whatsoever.
Feels like a victory march down the mid lane. Inhibitor knocked down, which they could want. No reason to risk anything. It is slow, it is steady, it is controlled, it is massive damage. Gala firing back with the Inferno multi just to generate a little bit of space, but Scout getting chunks down. Don't even need a wave, just tearing through the tower as life bars shrink on the side of JDG, or LNG, excuse me. Hope dwindling. JDG on the minds of T1 looking ahead to the semifinals.
Zeus just isn't missing. It's ridiculous. It's like 20 shock blasts in a row that this guy has hit. He's monster fed, and he is just having them
handshake
downloaded.
Back connected down to the wall. Zeus firing up with so much damage. Down go Zika. The pushback is massive. Gala knocked out, and T1 eyes on the prize.
And it's the God of Thunder. He loves his lightning champions, and Jace was always his most iconic. And in this final game, Zeus shows why he still pulls it out.
Final push now, LNG, one last desperate hold, but they've got nothing left. And even as every other LCK team falls away, Faker stays standing. T1 stays standing. The last light of the LCK burns bright, and Busan is ahead to the semifinals. That is willing to pick Senna, that has shown that they can shut it down. The puzzle, the equation for JDG gets so much more complicated.
And To be fair, at MSI, I thought that JDG T1 series was my favorite series of the tournament. Like, the level of play was absolutely ridiculous. I love that we get a rematch.
I can't wait to see it, but for now, let's send it down to the stage for an interview with Faker and Gumayusi with translation provided by Jisun.
Thank you very much, guys. We are here joined by Faker and Gumayusi on the side of T1. Congratulations on the win.
페이커 선수 LNG를 3대 0으로 잡아내고 4강
Faker,
진출에 성공하셨습니다.
you just 3-0 LNG. How do you feel?
거라고 조금 어느 정도 생각했었는데 그래도
I had a bit of a feeling that we were going to get 3-0 today, and I think our performance was also on a decent level, so I'm really happy with my team's performance and our team play. What about you, Gumayusi?
저희밖에 안 남았어가지고
We were the only team
생각하고 왔는데
survived
3대 0으로
from the LCK, so I was like, we have to win this, and then eventually we got a 3-0 win, so it feels amazing.
선수가 말씀 주신 것처럼 이번 월드
Faker,
LCK 팀
just like Gumayusi just mentioned,
유일한 희망이 T1이
all
출전하는 오늘의
3 other LCK teams got eliminated already, so you guys were the last hope of the LCK. Did you feel any extra pressure about this? I saw you meditating before the match started.
가능하면 그냥 최대한 경기에만 집중하려고 하기 때문에
I always try to just focus on the match itself only.
상관하지 않고 있었습니다.
So I try my best not to care about the given situations. I only focus on the game.
바텀에서 메타픽이 아닌 닐라세나
Gumayusi, today we were able to see a lot of unorthodox picks on the bottom lane. Nila Senadio and then Varus Ashcomp as well. It looks like you guys are prioritizing the laning phase a lot.
많이 맞추다 보니까 좀
Me and Kyria together performed together for such a long time, so we had a lot of options to opt into.
뭔가 정해져
Right now,
있는 느낌인 것 같은데
I don't think we have a set meta at the moment. So we are going to be the trailblazer of the meta, and I'm sure that our choices are correct.
적으로도 오늘 용 하나도 내주지 않고 완벽한 승리를 거둬내셨습니다.
And T1 did not lose a single Drake in the series. And with this win, Faker, you are keeping your undefeated record up against LPL teams at Warriors in a best-of-5 series and best-of-3 series. What do you think about that?
그런 기록이 있어서
Well, I mean,
기대를 하셨을 것 같은데 저는 그런 기록은
maybe that's why also all the fans were expecting more and had high hopes about it, but I don't care about the records and numbers. I just want to focus on how hard we prepare. What about you, Gumayusi? T1, they don't lose the LPL.
좋습니다. 이렇게 미리 답변.
Wonderful.
이제 4강에 3
Now,
LCK가 올라가게
heading
됐습니다.
on to the semifinals, we have 3 LPL teams and 1 last LCK team, and you are going up against JDG. Another rematch between you and Ruler.
MSI의 빛을 좀 갚아주고 싶고요.
You know,
작년 4강
Ruler has some debts from the MSI, and also I'm gonna make sure that he gets to recall some of the memories from last year.
한 말씀 해주세요.
I'm pretty sure Ruler is watching this interview right now. Anything you want to say to him?
룰러 선수
Ruler.
아시안 금메달 축하드리고요.
Congratulations on the gold medal from the Asian Games. So I will win the Worlds.
네, 페이커 선수도 이
What about you, Faker?
대결에서 가장 중요한 포인트 뭐라고
What do you think is the most important part heading into the JDG series in the semifinals?
진동 같은 경우에 제가 스위스 스테이지에서도 항상 좀 빨리 만나고 싶다라고 생각을
I always mention, even in the Swiss stage, that I really want to go up against JDG as soon as possible. I just want to have a great game together. And I am confident that T1 can win up against JDG. So we will just do as we normally do to prepare for the series and do our best on stage.
이런 이야기 해주셨습니다.
Gumayusi, you once mentioned that you and Kyria are the strongest bottom duo at Worlds. What is your mindset for semifinals?
열심히 준비해서 4강 징동전
We will do our best during the preparation to do our best, and show the best at semifinals. And I'll see you guys at Seoul.
기대하도록 하겠고요. 마지막으로 페이커 선수 정말 맘졸이면
Lastly, Faker.
LCK 팬분들께 LCK의
All the LCK fans were so desperate to see T1 win today. Anything you want to say to the fans?
깔끔하게 승리했는데 앞으로 있을 경기
We were able to get a very clean win today at quarterfinals. We will make sure to repeat this at the semifinals as well. Thank you so much for your support.
여기까지가 T1의
And that was the interview from Faker Gumayusi after their victory up against LNG today. And I'm gonna wrap up the interview translation. Thank you.
They are very loud. They've been loud all day. I think they've been keeping it in for 3 days. And then today, they just got to scream for not even 3 hours straight because it was faster than that, but absolute domination. Guma a little bit more cheeky than Faker there. Faker there, you know, he took it seriously and all that. And Guma saying, well, we don't lose to the LPL, so.
I'm just so glad we got to be here in this audience to experience it, because you could feel it. The whole country is giving all their power to T1, and man, did they slam.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we talked about how instrumental Faker has been to this team and his international performances, never finishing lower than a semifinal. Like, that's some people's career highs, to steal something that my friend just tweeted. Another thing I really liked from that interview, though, is Faker touching upon how he was like, we are going to dictate the pace of the meta from now on, right? Like, we believed in our picks, we think they're really good, and we are going to dictate this pace. And I feel like we saw that through all of their games, especially their Aphelios answers, because there were so many ranged answers for what Aphelios wants to do. It not only did LNG play poorly, but I thought T1 drafted super well on red side all 3 times, and then additionally had incredible early game plans for their drafts.
And I think it's the coolest thing, the fact that we got to see the Neela Senna come out when you think, oh, okay, we're going for the Tam Kench. The Renata was still able to come out, and even though we got the answer of the Melio, it didn't matter in the long run. I think T1 have a really, really good grasp of this. And when we started off the top of the day, we're like, why does the LPL look so good? We're like, well, these teams seem to have a better grasp of what's coming into the meta, but instead, it's actually T1 that are catching LNG off guard.
It is so satisfying to see teams change up the meta. You know, when people get bored of the same stuff getting picked over and over and over, and everyone's going, blue side so OP, blue side 80+% win rate, and T1 slam it, and they use counter pick so effectively. And Guma said it best on stage when he's talking about, me and Karya have been together for so long, we have so many options. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, someone who played extremely well as well was played phenomenally was Owner. He's our Oppo player of the series, and especially in terms of the story that we touched on earlier, Emily, in terms of the fact that he's not been having the best year, and you saw that he was the one who suffered the most when Faker wasn't there, to have such a statement series today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing with Owner is when I talk about the early game plans they had around these drafts, Owner is at the forefront of that. Like, these level 1s they had, the invade that I'm sure we're gonna see upcoming with the Poppy onto Tarzan. Like, he completely kept Tarzan out of these games right here. This was so smart from him after Tarzan blows everything. Going back in, sorry, I'm losing my voice. It's all right. To kill him. And then it can't be understated how, like, poor he looked throughout a lot of summer. Like, he really, really looked lost. So to see him come and make such a statement performance today is so good for T1 going forward.
I think that's actually probably the biggest part, because it was hard to choose today. Zeus